So stare across from nowhere and drop the anchor, my little.
This shit?
Yep.
Hey, Internet, did you miss us?
Hey. How's it going?
I talk about how we went on hiatus, but we don't even technically have the site up yet. So really, this is just going to come out back to back.
Right.
Right.
So, yeah.
And though the hiatus has made us no better at making intros.
So, we're setting sail again.
Yes, setting sail on the course for nowhere. I'm your guide, the media Nomad. With me, as always, is the stalwart DJ Kyber.
Hey. So
happy holidays. This is, I guess, our obligatory Christmas episode.
Yep. And, so we're both fans of Christmas, but...
We had a party. I had a Christmas party. You were there.
Yeah.
My pint glasses, which are all Peanuts themed, are now finally season appropriate.
Mm-hmm. And we're both fans of the evil anti-Santa Claus.
Well, we love Christmas. Like,
yes.
I don't hate Christmas. I just hate all the commercialism and talking to my family and all of the. I mean, like I like hanging out with my friends and drinking and watching Nick Offerman silently sip scotch by a fire for 45 minutes.
Oh yeah, I love that too.
Yeah, Nick Offerman, the guy who plays Ron Swanson on Parks and Rec, I think he's actually just become Ron Swanson. And so he put out a 45-minute video of just him sitting by a fireplace in a leather chair drinking scotch.
So I think it was already Ron Swanson because he can build boats, like actual full working boats using woodwork. Like kayak kind of things, but still. And before he was on Parks and Recreation, he did a DVD series on like how to build boats, and it was a straightforward just DVD on how to build boats, and it had Nick Offerman.
I think my favorite Nick Offerman thing is, though, you can Google this. I'll put it in the link dump. Is he was getting typecast because while I was younger doing acting. And they're like, well, you're going to play like the handyman, you're going to play like the landlord, you can only play these very specific roles. And to break out of that, just to fuck with everyone, he had some friends of his who do props make him like a 2-foot-long throbbing, it's like dick that he stuck in his pants. And he's got a headshot, and this thing's from like his elbow to and takes up his entire arm. It was him holding this giant prosthetic dick coming out of his pants.
And the other thing he did was he wore a hula skirt and coconut bikini. That was another thing he did to avoid being typecast. But unfortunately, he just makes that look incredibly manly.
It's the facial hair, like he's got it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, when he was younger, he didn't have the full beard, but he did have a 5 o'clock shadow. It was awesome. I kind of wanted to see him, Rob Lowe, and a young, what's her name, Amy Poehler, just like recite some of those lines. But I know it's impossible to go back in time and give them the script.
I don't know. See, actually, Poehler did an SNL sketch where she shows up as past Hillary Clinton to talk to the current actress who plays Hillary Clinton on SNL.
Yeah. So there have been actually. I figured that.
So Amy Poehler can time travel.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, she should go back in time, tell her younger self she did this kind of weird sort of Max Headroom-ish thing in the mid-90s. Yeah, I watched it. It was very mid-90s. Like it was in black and white. They were trying to talk what was hip for the time, like, "Yo, guys, I'm super cool, and I'm Amy Poehler, and here's 2 other actors that might end up doing stuff." Like, one of them ended up doing stuff.
What up, my fellow kid friends?
Yeah. Oh, she was a teenager. Well, late. She might have been like 19 or 20 when I saw her do this thing. You can look it up on YouTube or something. It's I don't remember what it was called. Just look up like young Amy Poehler or something. It's just weird. It's not bad. It's not good. It's like Max Headroom for the mid-90s. and it never went anywhere. It was just like a little 5-minute short.
To be fair, the actual Max Headroom didn't get very far.
True. Yeah, I mean, I like that actor. He's a little bit crazy and stuff. And honestly, I didn't mind him in the one X-Men pilot. Just everything else was terrible.
What was the one that came before the actual 90s X-Men? But it's animated almost exactly the same, but just on a lower budget.
No, I meant the live-action one. Generation X.
Oh, fuck, was he in that? Oh, god
Yes,
damn it.
He was the villain.
God, yeah, that is from the thing that never got made, because we were going to do...
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm going to have to rewatch that, aren't I?
We're
We're gonna have to revisit that, aren't we?
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah, we'll save
with its laser tag scenery.
We're just gonna talk about that later.
Yeah. All right. So in the meantime, though.
Meantime, we've got our holiday spirit. We've got our holiday peanuts cup. I've got my beer stein.
We're gonna have a cup of good cheer, and
by cheer I mean just it's alcohol. We're not gonna get wrecked, but
Riggedy wrecked son.
we're not gonna get. We got riggedy wrecked some the other night.
Yeah, we got Swifty.
We were actually talking about I think we were screaming Swifty as we were doing sake shots in my kitchen.
Yeah, I didn't do sake. I don't. Last time I did sake was something I won't talk about ever. I will just mysteriously hint about it. I did some sake, and I did sake in Disney, and not gonna say what happened because it's an embarrassing thing for me.
You know what? Well, if we ever get premium to the point where we're making premium content, if you tell your sake story, I will tell my Scotch story.
All right. Well, until then, you'll just have to wonder.
So there we go. We don't hate Christmas. We just enjoy certain aspects of Christmas more than others. And one of those acts, so we watch Christmas films. We're not all about the Halloween. It's just when we watch Christmas movies, we want them to have monsters murdering people by the dozen.
Yeah, like Gremlins.
Right. Yeah, so we went to go see Krampus today. We're probably half an hour ago?
Yeah. So it's fresh in our minds.
Holy shit. You know what? I'm going to throw up the spoiler warning. We're going to do the thing we always do. Brief, yay or nay, watch it or no, and then we'll just... all bets are off. We'll talk about everything in the film. You can't really spoil anything in this film.
Right.
If you have any basic concepts of horror movie structure, you're going to predict every beat in this film. But it doesn't matter because it's all just so much goddamn fun. It
seriously is. So should we tell our pre-spoiler review?
I think it's just fun.
Yes.
It's twisted and sadistic and it's juvenile, but you're going to love absolutely every second of it.
So, if you are a fan of 80s monster movies like The Stuff or Evil Dead or Gremlins, especially Gremlins.
It did feel very much akin to Gremlins in certain scenes.
Yes, then you're going to love this because it has a lot of monsters that are made with practical effects, like no CGI. They did have some CGI in this, but they also had a lot of...
I think the killer gingerbread men were CGI.
Yes, and those were the most gremlin-y things in the movie, and they were my favorite because they reminded me of a sadistic version of the minions from Despicable Me. Which I'm still surprised those things got their own movie.
They're marketable. They're really they're simple. They're marketable. That's all you need.
Right, and no one was gonna
No one expects the Minions movie to be good. They're just gonna get all the parents who just want their kids to shut the hell up to go see the Minions movie.
Right. So, I like Despicable Me 1 and 2, but that was because of the 3 children. Well, mainly the youngest girl, Agnes. Yeah, Agnes. She was.
I've not seen any Despicable Me. I have not seen a Minion. The closest thing I've come to actually watching one of those movies is that little sketch where they're singing Barbara Ann, but all the Minions are talking about bananas, and that's the entirety of my exposure to the Despicable Me franchise.
Yeah, the Minions are okay in small doses, but they get really, really annoying.
That's how it always goes when side characters get their whole movie. That's what happened with Pirates of the Caribbean when they gave Johnny Depp his own movie.
Oh, you thought he was annoying?
You know what? The only reason he got to be as just wacky as he did was because everyone else was actually doing the plot stuff. When you make the entire movie nothing but that, it's just not enough to support it.
Right. So
anyway, Gremlins. If you like any of these things, go see the movie. Killer gingerbread men, toys eating children,
Evil Jack in the Box.
Evil Jack in the Box, gratuitous swearing. We got gratuitous swearing. We got gunplay.
We got speaking of Parks and Recreation, we got Ben Wyatt.
We got
Adam
Ben
Scott.
Wyatt. We got Adam Scott. He's still Ben Wyatt.
Yeah. Okay. Ben Wyatt. First time I ever saw him was actually in Party Down, which was a good show after the second season. The second season is where it really came into its own. But he was phenomenal as Ben Wyatt, though. That's probably my favorite role he's done. Although in this one, he was like what any normal, sane person would have been like in this. They would have been, oh, come on! Are you serious?
He's the audience surrogate, is what he is.
Like, something bigger and crazier shows up, and he's like, what? What the hell?
Come on!
Yeah, so
if you want to find a way to get into the holiday spirit but just can't stand all of the twee stuff, if you like Muppet Christmas Carol but think the puppets could just be a little bit more edgy, go check out Krampus.
Yeah.
Alright, there we go. Spoiler warnings off. We're going to talk about the thing right after I go pour some more drinks.
Alright. Sure.
Alright, there we go. There you go. Do you think the mic get that? You're still going?
Yep. Wait. Should we check?
I think we're going. It says we're going.
Alright.
We're professionals, just so you know. There we go. We're going.
Okay.
Yeah, just so you know, we are professionals. Actually, no, we're not even professionals. We receive no money for this. We are, in every sense of the word, absolutely not professionals.
No.
So fuck yeah, Krampus.
Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know what Krampus is, he is the Anti-Claus, essentially. He is, in, like, old Germanic folklore, St. Nicholas would go around giving presents to all the good boys and girls. Krampus would follow closely behind, taking all the naughty children, all the naughty boys and girls, and dragging them to hell in his sack.
You know, you forgot the part where he beats them with sticks and chains.
Oh, yeah.
And then drags them to hell in his sack of horrors.
Yeah. Well, I've heard different ways it goes. Like, he puts them in his sack and then beats them with chains and whips.
Sticks. You know what? There's so many naughty children, you gotta mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what? You gotta shake up the routine, because otherwise it's just become a job, and then, you know what? If you don't love what you do, then why bother doing it?
Right. My first exposure to Krampus was actually in an old arcade game called Carnival. There's, oddly enough, a Christmas-themed level. I say oddly enough because there's also a Halloween-themed level. I have no idea who this game was for. But, I mean, it was like House of the Dead, but more colorful. So, the big final boss at the end of the Christmas level, Rickety Town, I believe it was called, was Krampus. And he looked pretty much like Santa, except he wore a cyan suit, and his, like, beard was all bloody, and he had big claws and antlers. And I think he had a gun as well, because it's Carnival.
Right.
It was a rail shooter.
I know they actually have Krampus parades.
Yeah.
In certain parts of, I want to say Germany?
Yeah, and I heard...
Germany and Austria.
Yeah, I heard one thing that tends to... So, what they do is they walk around in full...
This guy's... It's basically...
Krampus.
It's basically the goat version of the devil.
Yeah.
Where it's got the fur, he's got the cloven hooves, he's got the giant horns, he's got the fucking...
beard.
He's got the beard, and then he's got the Gene Simmons tongue.
Yeah.
Because that's like the one consistent thing that's pretty constant throughout all the Krampus folklore. He's got to have the wicked tongue.
Yeah, including this movie. But I heard that Celebration in Austria, what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to whip all the naughty children, and with their sticks or whatever, or whip at them. But what they tend to do is they tend to get really drunk, and then they tend to whip all the naughty women on their backsides. So,
nothing weird going on there.
Yeah, well...
Isn't that where Freud is from? Isn't Freud from that region?
Yeah, probably.
Unrelated.
And, and also Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know why he left.
Over there he's just some guy, but here he can be a governor.
Yeah, okay, true. Yeah, they're like, oh, look, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger
He's a
again.
in Austria. He's a dime a dozen. I just assume everyone looks like him in Austria.
Yeah, me too. And it was like, and you know, they're the way you say goodbye in Austria is "Hasta la vista, baby."
I'm pretty sure that's legal. That's in their constitution, right?
Yeah,
Right. Got to say that shit.
I'll be back. So that was sorry if that offended anyone from Austria, but so going into Krampus. All I knew was that it was going to be a horror movie, and I heard a lot of good things. I heard the negative things I heard were all things I enjoyed. It was like, oh, don't go see Krampus. It's just kind of dumb. It has a bunch of spooky monsters using practical effects, and if you're going in expecting to see a really scary movie, you're going to be disappointed because it just gets silly. And I was like, I want to see this now.
Well, see, I actually knew less than you did because I generally try to go into movies cold anymore because we've just hit so much media news saturation that it's impossible to just enjoy a film anymore. It feels like.
Right.
So I like even Star Wars because Star Wars came out over the weekend. It just eclipsed everything else. Like there's a Pixar movie out. I had no idea a Pixar movie was out because Star Wars had just eclipsed everything else.
Right, The Good Dinosaur. I meant to see that, but I keep hearing it's super depressing, so... but yeah, I knew Krampus was coming out. I heard about it a while back, and I was like, this could be really interesting. It's directed by the guy who did Trick or Treat, which I have not seen, but everyone...
It's okay. You know what? We're gonna. This is all gonna be in a backlog eventually. Anyway, we can just record all the holiday stuff completely out of order, and someone's gonna find them, and it's not gonna matter.
Right. So,
let's hear. Yeah, Michael Dougherty. Yeah, he did Trick or Treat. He did Krampus. Guy did X-Men 2.
Oh.
And Superman Returns.
I did not see that one.
Oh, and he's gonna do X-Men Apocalypse.
Okay. You know what? Sounds like this guy deserves more credit. Although, I mean, X-Men 2 was fine, but I keep hearing Superman Returns is really, really bad.
I've never seen it.
Me neither. Can't be worse than Man of Steel. Ha ha ha.
Oh, cheap shot at movie nobody liked.
Oh, jeez. I feel bad for the guy. So, on the plus side, the guy who played as Superman in Superman Returns is really good as the Atom.
On Arrow, we usually try and fill about an hour per podcast. So if we run out of stuff to talk about Krampus, we just hit the mid-season break for Arrow and Flash, so we can go into that.
Right.
Yeah. So basically, the film set up. It essentially the first 20 minutes of the movie plays out just like an updated National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation or Christmas. Yeah. Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation.
Because they weren't on a vacation, but their family was.
Right, where it's you've got the upper class family. They have their nice house. They're going to do all their super fancy Christmas things, and then of course those crazy redneck relatives have to come to visit, and they're all chubby, and they eat macaroni with hot dogs, and they like guns and do too much sports and belch at the dinner table, and what wackiness will ensue.
Yeah, I feel like that guy Dave Koechner or whatever, I feel like he's kind of getting typecast as that, but he's good at what he does, and he does that and Anchorman really well. I'm sure I could name some other things.
Yeah, David Koechner.
Yeah, he's great in Anchorman, and he's really good in this too. But and then
he's playing to his strengths.
Yeah. So it had that. It starts off pretty much like Christmas Vacation with just a little bit of I'm trying to think of a good kids Christmas movie where there's a little boy and he's like, I still believe in Santa. Dear Santa, I hope that you give all of our family things that would make them happy.
Right, where it's, the kid, what is he, looks like about 10?
Yeah.
In the ballpark him at 10. And he still likes the regular Santa. He can tell he doesn't really believe in Santa anymore, but he's still kind of clinging to it because he wants that to be a thing.
Right, he's clinging to the hope of to the magic of Christmas, because he says that every year gets worse and worse, and he just wants Christmas to be like it used to be.
Right, and then like they actually read his letter. It's I want to spend more time with my sister, and I wish my mommy and daddy would fall in love again, and please help out my crazy redneck relatives because they're still going through some shit.
Yeah, and
those words exactly, by the way.
Yeah, and he said something about like they never say exactly what he said, but his two cousins are very, very
the tomboy. They went to the
tomboy. Yeah. I was trying to think of the word. Yeah, they're very tomboy. They have like one of them is short hair, the other one just wears her hair up. They wear like camo jackets and stuff, and they like to wrestle. And he
wrestle, not wrestle.
Wrestle.
I'm pretty sure you said you were like halfway there, and I just pushed you over the edge to wrestle.
Wrestle. So they and he said something along the lines of that he wants.
Dad does not wish we were boys.
Yeah, Dad does not wish we were boys.
They show up in a Hummer that's got a shotgun thing on the back.
Yeah. So.
And oh boy, what shenanigans are gonna happen now?
Yeah, and then it keeps showing the this advent calendar. It's like the 22nd.
And then they open it, it's the 23rd, and it's got the most terrifying picture of a snowman ever created.
Right. Well, second most terrifying, because the most terrifying would be the actual ones they set up.
Right. Well, the kid, he gets into a fight with of course the kid gets into a fight with his family, and then he tears up his letter to Santa and he throws it out the window, and then we get this comically over the top, just like a literal storm cloud appears over the house.
Yeah. And
there's lightning and it knocks out all the power, and there's this huge blizzard.
Yeah. If you've ever seen the cover of the original Fright Night, it looks pretty much like that.
It's basically just that.
Yeah, minus Chris Sarandon's scary vampire makeup face.
And I gotta say, one thing this movie does really well is the feeling of isolation.
Yeah.
Because that's a very vital ingredient to any horror movie. That's why they put you in a cabin in the woods.
That's why The Thing takes place in Antarctica.
Right. And you think they're in their own home, they're in suburbia, which you think of as this ideal safe place. And then the storm is so bad it knocks out all the power. You can barely walk through it. I think they said it was like 20 below zero out there. They almost got frostbite in about 4 or 5 minutes. And so you just generally feel just how alone it all is. Not to mention, they mentioned it's an affluent neighborhood, so a lot of the people were actually out for the season.
Right. They're in Hawaii, in Florida, and whatever. So...
And then, the postman and the snowplow guy are just collateral at that point.
Yeah, that was sad, but...
That they just, really early on, they actually just come across, the body of... Or, no, just, the empty... the empty snowplow with the window busted in, and it's all frozen from the inside out.
Right, and they see the guy who just, delivered a package...
Package delivery guy is...
And,
frozen to death in his truck with horror on his face.
Yeah, and, So this is when all the creepiness starts, is when that storm cloud rolls in and all the power goes out. Everything goes out. The power, there was they couldn't call anyone, couldn't get reception.
Phones were out.
Yeah.
Reception was down.
Heat was out. Everything was just frozen pretty much. That's when the horror pretty much creeps in.
Well, what I thought was interesting is the first time we see Krampus, it's broad daylight.
Yeah, it is. That's right. She's
there's a girl who just wants to go, down a few blocks to meet her boyfriend, and then you just hear just this thud, and you see him. He's just this cloaked figure with these giant horns. And one of my favorite things about this monster is just the way he moves, which seems like a really weird thing to fixate on. But he's very, you see him leaping from rooftop to rooftop, but he always feels heavy. You hear the chains he's got chains, and there's always this heavy thud when he's moving around, so you don't expect something with that much weight and presence to just move as quickly as it does. So it's actually leaping, so she's running down the road, and it's leaping actually over her head from house to house across the street.
Yeah. He still has that Christmassy St. Nicholas feel to it, but just much more evil.
Well, that's like the one kind of sticking point for me in this monster design was when we finally get the close up and we see the face. Was it supposed to be a St. Nicholas mask, or is that supposed to be his actual face?
I think that was supposed to be his actual face.
Because all of his minions had masks.
Oh yeah. Good
So, but like you see, like the eyes move and a tongue comes out, but you don't see the rest of the face move. So I'm wondering if he's wearing, because he's wearing a Santa mask essentially.
Right.
So I'm wondering if that's his actual face or if that's just the mask.
Yeah, that wasn't clear, but it really didn't matter at that point. He was already terrifying to begin with. If he's wearing a mask, it's even creepier because you don't know what's under there. But if not, I mean, he's at that point he had already like killed the entire family
By the time you see his face.
Yeah, and also he has like really long, sharp.
He's got the long,
claws.
creepy fingernails.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because like Krampus himself never like gets. You don't get much out of Krampus.
Yeah.
Because most of the time he's this giant figure with these horns and he's just kind of stalking you, and then he does get a few scenes where it focuses on him towards the end, and even then there's no dialogue.
Right.
The monster never speaks.
He
And
laughs.
it's all like
roars.
you get like a laugh, and that's all you get. And of course, I'm going to go with that. It's a mask instead of his face.
Okay.
And you've got the mask, so you get no expression, and he very much feels like a force rather than a creature at that point.
Yeah. The force being
He's
the
just this
lack of Christmas spirit.
He's just this great malevolent force, but we get so little from Krampus because it's all just aura that he projects out. But we get a lot of fun and expression because he's got an army of Christmas themed minions.
Yes, this was the highlight.
Which are going to be the highlight of the film. I think probably one of the best scenes of the movie takes place. They're in an attic and they're fighting. Was it like a demented angel puppet that also has a Gene Simmons tongue?
Yeah.
Teddy bear, like giant monsters teddy bear. Robot, because you got to update eventually.
Yeah.
I like you're keeping it old school, but sometimes you got to keep up with the time. So it's like a clock. It looks like something from one of the monsters or one of the robots from Pacific Rim, but with like a wind up and knives for arms.
Yeah, and
Probably something close to what Michael Bay would do. It looks like something out of Transformers with a wind up in his back.
Yeah, he's got like big glowing red eyes and like one of those sharp trash can type of mouths.
And he's got knives for arms. Oh, it's great. And then the gold medal though for monster design in this bit comes from, it was like a Jack in the Box that eats people. It was basically like, imagine it's really hard to like. It's got
that one was absolutely terrifying.
It's got the porcelain face, but then the jaw actually opens up and you see just these rows of teeth on the inside, and it was swallowing people whole. And then you see it's got this like accordion gut that leads back to this tiny box.
Right. So this was in the trailer, by the way. I did get to see a little bit of him in the trailer, just a small shot, like half.
I think he was in the promo material too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good because he was probably the best one because I'm pretty sure that was practical.
Yeah, I don't think there's any CGI on that.
No. A lesser director would have turned him into CGI and then like had him sprout spider legs and started
like it was
whatever.
Just enough. It was like the concept itself is terrifying.
Right.
And what's interesting is they actually integrated how the monster works in the way the Krampus mythology works.
Yeah.
Because the Krampus never kills anybody. He drags you to hell, which is somehow infinitely more terrifying than if he were to just kill you. Like, imagine if you were swallowed whole by a demonic Jack-in-the-Box and you just got held there, surrounded by monsters waiting to be dragged to the fiery pits of hell.
Right. And that's why all the German little boys and girls are good. Because they don't want to have to go through that. So, but the other thing that was great about this is because it had a porcelain face, so it was always basically smiling. It could blink a little bit, but it's just like horrific, frozen smile, just in porcelain, this clown face, essentially.
And clowns are like, who ever thought clowns make people happy?
I don't.
When were clowns ever a happy thing?
I don't know. I think that was like way back in Italy, like Renaissance times, jesters and
Like
stuff.
when have clowns ever not been terrifying?
Right.
Because I was born in 1990, and I have never known a time when clowns were not a universal shorthand for pants-shitting horror.
Ted Bundy made it worse. No, not Bundy. The other Gacy. John Wayne Gacy made it worse when he became an actual killer clown.
I think because I know a lot of what modern clown horror can be traced back to Stephen King's It, where I think a lot of this started.
Yeah.
But even looking at old school, like I've seen the old toys. All toys made before 1950 are terrifying.
Yeah, pretty much.
Go to some antique shop and you'll see the toys, and they look like they want to murder you, all of them.
Mm-hmm. Although that could also be because of... I was going to say, that could be because of modern horror movies, but no, those had to come from somewhere. The people who made those movies grew up with those toys, and they were terrified of them. And we need to put these in horror movies.
Right, you think, like, they over-exaggerate it a little bit for some of the movies, but I've actually been in to, like, antique shops and thrift shops where they have these old toys, and I look at going, how did these kids sleep? They were surrounded by these every night.
They just curled up next to their Silver Age comics, or Golden Age, whatever.
I'm talking like 1950s and before. Like, we're talking 1950s back.
Then Golden Age. They just curled up with those and been like, Superman will save me. So will Batman. He uses guns. Yeah.
Because Batman used to use guns in the 40s.
Yeah. So, I don't know why parents would buy these things for their kids.
I have no... Maybe it's because we've seen all the horror movies and now we look at them and think they're terrifying.
Yeah.
That's entirely possible.
That is possible, but like I said, the people who made those horror movies grew up with these toys. They were terrified of them too. They had to have been. Otherwise, why would they make... Because I have not seen a horror movie with an action figure. Unless you count Small Soldiers, but I don't.
That was more of an action movie.
Yeah. But you haven't seen, like, He-Man or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or one of those, what were they, Dragonflies or Street Sharks?
Fucking Street Sharks!
Yeah,
Street Sharks are scary for different reasons.
I don't find them scary. I find them radical, dude.
They're scary for the point of culture they represent. Like, Street Sharks so perfectly encapsulates the 90s.
Yeah, well, yes, because they were clearly rip-offs of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Rip-offs, and everything they said was a catchphrase, and they were clearly made just to sell the toys. And of course I watched the cartoon show, and of course I wanted the toys.
Yes. Same.
Because I was like 7.
Right,
because it's what you do when you're 7.
And I got a lot of those toys, and they looked nothing like they do in the cartoon. Well, I shouldn't say nothing, but they don't look a lot like they do in the cartoon. Like that one, Genghis Khan lobster. He, in the action figure, was actually pretty awesome. He was like this dark brown lobster thing with a huge claw that could pinch things, whatever, and then
a claw that can pinch things. That's literally all that claws can do is pinch things.
Well, you could slice things in half as well. Saw them
like going all Zoidberg and try.
So, but in the cartoon, he looked kind of lame.
That's because their animation budget was non-existent because it existed strictly to sell toys.
That's right. Yeah, I remember this one episode where they were at a theme park, like an amusement park or something, and then all of a sudden, the amusement park disappeared out of existence. No one said anything, and then it reappeared, and people weren't paying attention. They weren't like, "Oh my God, the amusement park is gone."
They forgot to animate the amusement park for a few frames.
Yes,
they just left off the background.
Yeah, they were like, the intern was supposed to bring it, but he didn't.
Whatever, dude.
Yeah, you know what? Screw it. He got us coffee instead. It's good enough.
Whatever. So back to Krampus. Holy shit! Some of the monster designs in this movie, and There are killer gingerbread men who get they've got a nail gun at one point.
Those are...
One of them tries to shiv a dude with a sharpened candy cane.
That's right.
Like and they're like, yeah, and it's just it never, because as creepy as this movie can get, because some of the designs of the monsters are terrifying, and as oppressive as the atmosphere gets, it always knows just how and when to break that tension just a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's Ben Wyatt just going, oh, come on,
Yeah.
or someone who's talking about how Christmas cookies are kicking his ass.
Yeah, and the gingerbread men, though, the way they're defeated is the best way. Like, so they're fighting Dave Koechner, and
he's got a shotgun. Of course, because I'm sure he's listening.
Yeah,
and we have a large celebrity audience.
Well, you never know. Like, maybe
is he just like Googling? Are we just gonna tag him and he's just vanity Googling himself, and he's drilled down to page 342, and like, well, these motherfuckers got my name wrong.
Hey everyone! These little bastards mispronounced my name.
Screw them.
We love you.
Yeah, no, you're a great actor. Keep doing what you're doing. But yeah, so he was shooting them with a shotgun, but then he was out of bullets and
shells. Shotguns have shells on bullets.
Shells. He was out of shells, and then the last gingerbread man was running up to him to shiv him.
He's been trying to shiv him with a sharpened candy cane, which is glorious just on the imagery alone.
These things were absolutely fantastic. So the Jack in the Box was the best part in the practical.
It was the best practical effect that they did.
Yeah, but the gingerbread men were the best. I'd say just comedy wise, like. They were just an absolute delight.
They never stopped giggling. I don't think any of them... They were just having the time of their fucking lives tormenting these people.
Until the end, when they just let out their war cry. They were like, screw this, he's got a shotgun. And then, you just see this thing like going up in slow motion. Fire behind him. Candy cane in hand.
I was actually kind of rooting for the gingerbread man at
that
point.
I know.
I was so damn ballsy.
And then, like... David Koechner, he just like closes his eyes and turns away, and then you just hear the dog like licking its lips, and you look over. It ate the gingerbread man. I was like, he died a hero. He died a hero. God damn it!
Right when and then I talked about this movie kind of feeling overstuffed. Right. And that's just absolutely. So I know we wanted to go on a popcorn run because we both were running behind to the movie. Didn't have time to get the popcorn at the concession stand, and we know enough about film structure to know when we can make the popcorn run.
Right.
There was no popcorn run time because when the new relatives show up, there's like 7 or 8 of them.
Right.
They're just and it's just trying to drive up that body count, and they have fun with each and every one of those. Well, I can't say kills because they all get captured.
Right. So the other thing is there's this ant.
The ant, just played by the maid on 2.5 Men.
Oh yeah, that's who that is. I was like, she looks familiar.
Hold on, I got her open on IMDb.
So yeah, she was in there as well.
Oh
so
god, I'm gonna butcher the shit out of this name.
She's
Conchata Farrell? Conchata? Oh, Conchata.
Yeah. So.
And she's basically playing the same role she's done in every you know what? Every recognizable actor is playing exactly to every typecast that you associate with them, and that's absolutely fine because they do well enough, and they do well enough for it.
Yeah,
of course, she's loud, she's rude, she's drunk, she's completely inappropriate, and that's
looks like Martha Stewart threw up in here. And then the kid screams like, "I hate Christmas! I hate all of you!" She's like, "Well, I give the kid credit for saying what everyone was thinking." Yeah, at least.
Come on, kids! I'm going to show you how to make schnapps.
She was great too, but she was another part of the family that they didn't want there. Because she's always just like bitching about everything.
Well, no. She is the family who was unwanted by the family that they didn't want there to begin with.
Yeah.
So it's mom's sister, her redneck husband, and their litter of children. and then who they didn't want to begin with, and then there's the aunt who nobody wanted there to begin with because even the redneck relatives didn't like her.
Right. Like she said, "Oh yeah, we were just stopping by to drop off some presents,"
And then she showed
up
the
with a
suitcase.
And what were we gonna say? No, you have to spend Christmas alone. So, yeah, things just got worse with that, and it was great. Oh, and then there was the one silent kid who could eat anything.
Yeah, the one kid, like it was. I rolled my eyes a little bit at this because it was very much this Cinemax shorthand of fat, haha, let's make fun of the fat kid. These people are. It felt a little bit mean spirited at a few points in the movie.
Yeah,
but I feel like after seeing the entire film, it feels like it was self-aware enough to realize it's playing on different tropes.
Yeah. And not only that, but the kid is the one that pretty much introduced the gingerbread men.
Right, because it was great because because you see the chimney and just this chain comes down with this metal hook on the end, but there's a gingerbread.
Yeah, they were fishing.
And of course the
Fishing
fat
for
kid,
children.
of course the fat kid's gonna go after it, and he grabs the gingerbread and bites into it. It screams, hooks him, and then the kid gets dragged up the chimney.
And you just hear up there all the gingerbread men giggling.
So this is gingerbread cookies. Oh my god, this gingerbread men are awesome.
Yeah, I hope they make some merchandise with that. I'd buy it. And but yeah, so that was, I guess technically that was our second introduction to the gingerbread men, because the first one we saw,
Like you just kind of see hanging around somewhere.
Yeah, there was a gingerbread man with a giant knife through it in the girl's boyfriend's house.
Oh no! Actually, remember how you said you didn't know why Krampus staked his own gingerbread man? That's probably one of the people in the house staking the gingerbread man with the butcher's knife.
Yeah, I mean, I realized that later on. I was like, that was probably a survivor. They were fighting.
Those are defensive. That is the sign of a struggle against the gingerbread men.
Yeah. So we didn't actually get to see her boyfriend or hear about. Oh wait, no, we did. Yeah,
It's
they were
not
doing a
like
Skype.
it's not like it's body count. And
Right.
oh my, like this is one of the highest body counts of any horror movie I've ever seen. Because I talked about things this movie does well. It does the sense of oppression or isolation and oppression really well. And like I've never in recent memory seen a horror film. I'm sure someone like El Goro has.
I would say Godzilla.
Like it's Godzilla's more that's an action movie. That's not a horror movie. Like I've never seen like a horror movie where shit was more wrecked than this one.
Yeah.
Because the Krampus destroyed the entire fucking neighborhood, and he saved this motherfucking family for last because he wanted to watch them squirm. Because like he took out entire houses, he killed the snowplow guy, he killed the fucking FedEx guy.
Yeah, and
that was just the collateral. And then and it wasn't just like he came in and sliced people. Like the entire houses were destroyed.
Yeah, this one, the despair just keeps getting higher and higher and higher. Which is actually where the Evil Dead vibe comes from, because the higher the body count gets, the more despair you feel. Like normally in with like Halloween and Friday the 13th and
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, those movies, which by the way I've been sort of marathoning lately.
What you do at Christmas?
Yeah, I mean I got half off when I was renting movies at
well,
Family Video.
if Santa can start showing up in October, then we can watch our Halloween movies at Christmas.
Right. So, I was watching those movies, and, like, I knew who was gonna die. I knew who the last girl was. And I just... So... It really never felt... I never felt, like, the despair, the growing despair in that, where, like, everyone pretty much had an equal shot at killing... or stopping Jason or Freddy or Michael. Everyone had basically an equal shot, but they died because,
Like it basically, if it bleeds, you can kill it.
Yeah. So, but with Krampus, not only is Krampus an unstoppable force of Christmas spirit, but the higher the body count got, the more the worse everything was. Yeah, the more hopeless everything was. Like, you couldn't... At a certain point, none of the kids could actually drive a car, and that was the most essential part to their getaway plan.
Because, yeah, they tried to drive the abandoned snowplow.
Yeah. And then, like, when the one kid gets dragged up, he was, like, the first one to... Oh, no. The girl was the first one to go. And that's when you realize you can't go out of the house. When the kid got dragged up through the chimney,
Like,
you realize there's certain places you can't go in the house.
Right, you think that it gets just so brilliant because as soon as you think you know how the rules work,
Right.
he breaks them because it's so... Because I can't think of a horror movie where it's like, these guys are fucked. Like, I go into a slasher movie, which I guess you can most closely associate this with a slasher movie.
Yeah.
And you kind of know everyone's fucked going in, but maybe there's a car somewhere that might get them to safety. Maybe there's a thing you can do. Maybe there's some like ancient like magic MacGuffin that can kill the thing. Maybe like there's someone someone's kind of make it out just by default. But this one, like, it just like there were like one or two. There's only really two like kills that happen to people just because they really should have been smart enough to avoid them. It was the chain, the gingerbread man on the chain. And then there was the two girls, like their cousin's missing, but hey, we hear her voice coming from the attic.
Yeah, of course she would be up
Of course
there.
she's up there. Let's go investigate. Like, those are the only two, like, stupid kills. Because you see a lot of just poor decisions in horror films, but almost every decision these people make, there's a very clear reason for it, and it's very understandable. Like, that is the most intelligent decision to make, and none of it's going to matter. You think you know the rules, and you don't.
Right. The grandma, though, well, she was a different story. She was ready to die, and I guess that was the most intelligent decision to make for the good of the whole, but it wasn't the most intelligent decision to make if you wanted to survive, but she didn't really.
Well, the thing is, the grandma's German. She speaks German throughout the film, until she tells about the Krampus origins, then she starts speaking English. And it was, you know what? Because I know, basically, throughout the first, 2/3 of the film, she speaks entirely in German, and there's, 4 characters who understand her, but they speak English back at her.
Yeah.
And you were like, well, why didn't she talk English? And I'm going, why don't these douches speak German back to her if they understand her?
Ben Wyatt did, and I was actually...
Yeah, Ben Wyatt spoke in German with her, because that's his mom.
Yeah. Which I thought that was sweet, because I was like, I'm not getting the whole, this is my mom. This is the person that cared for me my whole life. Because there was sort of a disconnect. He spoke perfect English, but then he started speaking German to her, and I was like, oh, okay. No, that's all I needed.
There's a couple, there's almost no breathing room. There are a couple nice little character building moments where you feel for these people.
Right.
Like the mom saved a Christmas angel for the top of the tree and little popsicle stick frames. These scenes don't last very long though, because like I said, there's so many people to just destroy in so many different creative ways.
Right.
Just like I said, we could not make the popcorn run. It just couldn't happen.
That not only that, so one of the reasons we couldn't make the popcorn run is because everything was just hit after hit after hit in this movie, and the other reason is because Force Awakens there were 3 showings of Force Awakens all within an hour, and so the line for the popcorn was going out the door. Yeah. So,
but yeah, it's I made me lose a train of thought because you started talking about popcorn again.
sorry.
But yeah, just you're fucked. Because I know here I was going to talk about when the grandma finally explains the origins of the Krampus, she starts speaking in English.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do.
And then it's in claymation or
It was like CGI that was meant to look like almost like a Rankin Bass movie. Like the stop motion, it was that, imagine like that, but a twisted German village. You're talking about how it was,
it's sort of
she was a little girl, and this winter was darker and colder than all the other winters, and everyone started to turn on each other, and she just made this wish that her parents would go away, and then she got it. And then they do the whole thing, like it's her hiding in her bedroom, and you just see the silhouette of you see the Krampus silhouette, which you've seen so far in the movie, just doing all of these terrible, terrible things to her parents, and then you see it come into a room, and you just, the silhouette winks at her, because there's the two transparent spots for the eyes, and then it just leaves her the little bell that says Krampus on it, because that was one of the coolest things about the monsters. It always leaves one person alive to tell the legend.
Right. And that little bell was actually, I think, really important. It was basically his way of marking you. you better be.
Because like
you better not.
Because no one's gonna learn if you wipe out everybody. Then there's no one to tell the story.
Right.
So it was a really cool way to kind of keep the legacy going.
Yeah. So
then by the end of the movie, the little kid who tore up his Santa letter to begin with, he comes face to face with the Krampus, and you just see this long claw hand drop this bundle, and it's the remains of his torn up letter to Santa wrapped around this brass bell that just says Krampus on it. And then his family is taken, they're gone, he's alone, waist deep in the snow, and he's just abandoned.
And so he goes up, he finds Krampus's sleigh.
Because for a second there I thought that was going to be how the movie ended.
I was afraid that was how it would end too, and I would be like, well,
I would have been a little disappointed
downer.
if that was the climax.
Yeah, same.
But he eventually finds out he's got this sleigh pulled by monsters, and he's got elves. He's got elves, by the way.
Yes.
He's got evil elves and fucking masks, and they just wreck shit. Because there's a point...
Krampus is a little helpers.
Well, there's a point where they beat all the toys.
Right.
The last, the Jack-in-the-Box is the only one left, and they've got a shotgun to its head, and you think they've won, and then, you think they've won, they've boarded up everything, they've got the fire going, so he can't come up the chimney, he can't come down the chimney, they're set, and then just, fuck it, evil elves come smashing through the window, and just, they leave all but, they take all but, 2 or 3 people, and they just wreck everything.
Yeah. So
there's nothing you can do. You can't escape the Krampus.
Right. And I was actually thinking this would have escalated further with a little bit of hope, because Ben Wyatt, he got a plan. It feels weird calling him Ben Wyatt rather than Adam Scott, but I'm going with it.
He's still Ben Wyatt.
Yes. So he got a plan. He took out this map, marked all these places. I was like, okay, so that's where they're gonna go. And he said, I'm going to plow the snow plow is still out there. Keys are still in the ignition. I'm going to go out there and, plow the roads, and you guys will follow closely behind in the car, and we'll make it to the shelter in the mall or something. I was like, okay, that's where the big showdown's going to be. They didn't even get that far. My God, they got to the
They made it
snowplow.
to the plow. And losing all of the adults along the way, because they're on top of all the other fucking minions. There's some sort of monster hidden beneath all of the snow that you never actually see, but sucks people down like the fucking worms and Tremors.
Yeah,
and it takes out.
down.
It got every one of the there was a few adults left. All the adults are gone.
Yeah.
In one fell swoop, all the adults are gone, and just him and his cousin. And then they're at the truck. Maybe they're gonna start. And maybe it's going to start, and then the elves show up again. And the elves are just the giant fuck you of the movie.
Right. And then and the kid tries turning the keys in the ignition, and it doesn't start. Battery is dead. Probably because the lights were still going on top of it, the little flashing lights or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And even if it wasn't, I'm pretty sure Krampus just threw out his EMP powers, and because that's what he does. When he actually shows up in the house, all of a sudden the lights turn back on.
And then Bing Crosby starts playing on the radio, and the Christmas leaf flickers back. Well, I think he left the snowplow just to fuck with them.
Yeah.
Because they have a Hummer, which they show can, redneck relatives, of course, drive a Hummer, and they show that can get through the snow. They leave the Hummer to go. They step out of the Hummer to go look for somebody, and when they come back, it's just torn apart. It's not like someone slashed the tires. It's wrecked. There's nothing resembling a vehicle anymore, and so it's very much the snowplow. He left that last little sliver of hope just so he could take it away.
He is a fantastic villain, and I was thinking a few times okay, they're gonna show Krampus as he's the anti-Santa Claus, but he has a heart still. No. Fuck you. Fuck your heart. Fuck your joy. He laughs in the face of joy, because at the end, Max came up to him and was like, please, I believe in Santa Claus. Just give me back my family. And, Krampus just puts up one little nail up to right.
And he wipes the one tear from this kid's face.
Then stares at him, and then begins laughing because.
And then throw the children into the fire.
Right, and then I guess he kind of has No, I guess he wouldn't really. I don't know if you'd say he has a heart, but what happens is he throws him into hell. Then Max wakes up, and it's like none of it ever happened.
Except, my favorite part about the climax is, of course, Max is the only one left.
Right.
He goes to confront the Krampus, because of course he's going to go confront the Krampus to try and get his family back, because once again, they're not dead, they're just being held in a sack of horrors to be dragged to hell. And it's interesting to see everything this kid throws them, because his tactics change second to second, which make a lot of sense, because, he's a panicked 10-year-old, of course, like he's... if he starts with, hey, asshole, because he's going to try and stand up to him, and then you see him try to take this guy down, like he's got a stick. He tries it, which is a nice callback to, with the Trump, because he beats people with reeds.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think of that.
Which is a nice little callback to that. And then he's, and then at first it's like, fuck you, I'm going to save my family, and then it's, well, please save my family, you have the power to do it, just don't do it, I don't care anymore. And then,
Take me instead.
Then it's take me instead, because then he tries to be brave, and then, he's, Krampus just scoops him up and holds him over the fiery pits of hell. And then, of course he starts to freak out, screaming, no, 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 and then there's just this last moment of, I just wanted Christmas to be like it used to. Yeah. Because he's just throwing everything he can think of at the situation, because something has to work. Right. Because he's got nothing else other than just trying to reason with this force of demonic nature.
Right. So,
Krampus
will show up, and there's no escape.
And then by then, he gets dropped in the pit. He wakes up, and it was all a dream, except he got the Krampus bell under the Christmas tree.
And everyone looks at it knowingly.
Well, it's nice because they all look, and then every time when they look at it, they actually play audio from when they were fighting the monsters, and everyone suddenly they all remember it.
Yeah.
So it's, what, I normally don't like the whole it was written off as a dream ending, but goddamn, if any movie earned it.
Yes, because that, if they all remember this, and now they're all going to be good from now on.
Right. Now, the Krampus, he wants people to learn their lesson.
Yeah.
There's no point in punishing if there's no reform.
Right.
You can't punish without the opportunity for reform, so it falls in line with that, because he's
not a murderer.
He's terrifying, but at the end it's almost like there's this weird benevolence to the Krampus, where he has a lesson to teach, and you will learn it.
You will learn it in the worst way possible, because it's a very important lesson. It's that basically Christmas is all about getting along with everyone. Peace on earth, all of that. Well,
I think they actually said at one point, Saint Nicholas is what you make him to be. So the holidays, it doesn't matter, if you put out the milk and cookies. It doesn't matter if, you write the list. It doesn't matter if you're good. What matters is that you have that love and you want to share it.
Right.
And God damn it, you will learn that lesson, even if it means being eaten alive by a nightmare Jack-in-the-Box. Or, hung up by a noose of Christmas lights.
Oh, that's right. The angel tried doing that.
Yeah, Angel tried to hang things about through Christmas lights, demonic gingerbread men. You will fucking learn this lesson.
Oh, by the way, the angel died in a spectacular way, too.
Oh, and they shot it into the reed?
Yeah, they shot her into the reed. Like, she jumped in midair. Ben Wyatt takes the shotgun, shoots her, and she gets pinned into the reed.
No, it's just
that's a great Christmas decoration, isn't it?
Like, it never stops being fun, because it gets oppressive, it gets dark, but it never gets scary, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, like I've seen some absolutely terrifying movies before. This one doesn't quite come close to that, but it does. It is probably more fun than those movies. No, it is more fun than those movies. It's
very just with this juvenile sense of, well, here's all these people, how can I wreck their shit?
Right. It's like a cheap little haunted house, I guess.
Right. It's not like say The Conjuring.
Right.
The Conjuring scared the piss out of me. The Conjuring is the only movie I've ever actually scared. I screamed out loud in.
I haven't seen it.
The Conjuring is the only movie that actually got a scream out of me ever.
One of my friends said that when I took a picture of what Ohio looks like in late fall, early winter, she said that it looks a lot like The Conjuring. So, and I was like, well, not gonna see it now.
Well, we'll do The Conjuring. Well, at some point we'll do The Conjuring. We'll do Trick or Treat too, which get back to the same director.
Yes.
And even the premise of that movie is essentially the same as this one's, where you have his name is.
Treat everyone, or else you'll get.
Well, it's kind of like you must maintain the spirit of the holiday, or bad things will happen to you. It's exactly the same premises with a different holiday, because you have the little trick or treater kid, and it's an anthology, so it's a bunch of short vignettes and that have a framing story of this, and basically it's just this little kid punishing people for their lack of Halloween spirit. I'm gonna give away it's the first kill of the movie. It happens in the first 2 minutes.
Okay.
Where there's this one woman who she wants to put out the jack-o'-lanterns early. So it's like it's like 8 o'clock on Halloween night. It's like, well, I gotta put out the lanterns, and her husband, who's really into Halloween, is like, no, you have to leave them lit. Says, oh, that's silly, don't do that. And then he comes outside, and then the little kid comes by, and then the next shot is just husband coming outside, and wife is carved up like a jack-o'-lantern hung from a tree.
Oh my god! Wait, what did she do wrong?
She put out the jack-o'-lanterns too early. You have to keep them lit on Halloween night.
Oh.
Yeah, so the little trick-or-treater kid is the spirit of Halloween.
Right.
His name is Sam, but short for Samael, a demon lord.
Oh, I thought it was short for Sam, as in your name.
Fuck! Fuck! I need a pseudonym, and then you do that. Why the fuck you gotta do that? Fuck!
So,
Fuck!
Yeah, I heard that his name was Sam. I didn't realize it was Samael, though. Or Sam Hain, as it was. It didn't, Halloween used to be called Sam Hain or something.
We can look that up. We have the magical fact device.
I heard about that in Halloween 2, but that was it. Or no, was it Halloween 2? I don't remember.
But it's the exact same premise, just with different iconography, and god damn does it work. Because, the pacing is clunky. It definitely feels overloaded. There's almost no breathing room. The cast is all very, very two-dimensional. It's incredibly juvenile. God damn, would I not have it any other way?
It's all these things that would not work in any other movie.
Right? You're not, because it almost felt like someone wrote National Lampoon Christmas fan fiction, but it's like being forced to we're gonna make it edgy and add a monster, and that's exactly what this movie felt like. But it hits that point where it goes so far to commit to this premise, this juvenile sense of just sadistic glee that you can't it has flaws as from a technical standpoint of construction. It's got issues, but you forgive all of them because it's clearly just having this demented delight in all of this terrifying iconography.
Right. So, I actually just last night saw another movie called Merry Friggin' Christmas. It was one of Robin Williams' last movies.
Oh yeah, I saw that, and it was really underwhelming.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed seeing Oliver Platt as Bum Santa. I enjoyed seeing Robin Williams just as
alcoholic dad.
Yeah,
and Joe
alcoholic
McHale was
dad.
in that. It was almost just too mean-spirited for its own good.
Yeah, I liked it, But I have another movie that I rented that I really want to see that I think will be better. It's called Joyeux Noël, which is a movie that takes place during World War One. It's about an actual thing that happened during World War One. On Christmas, one of the German soldiers, there was these two armies in a standoff. Everyone from around the world, they were French, German, Scottish, American. Everyone was there. I'm sure. Who else was part of the World War One?
Everybody. It was the whole world.
So, anyways, it was everyone from around the world,
especially you, New Guinea.
They were at this standoff, and it was Christmas. It was December 25th, and then just all of a sudden, this German soldier just started singing "O Tannenbaum, O Tannenbaum," and then one of the Irish soldiers started playing bagpipes. Wait, is it Irish that plays bagpipes?
Irish and Scottish both. They're more associated with Scotland, but the Irish have them too.
Okay, well, one of the soldiers on the other side started playing bagpipes to it, and then people started like joining in, and then all of a sudden they just like put down their guns, and got together, and they were like, Merry Christmas, and they led each other in prayer, and they just celebrated Christmas, not as opposing soldiers or anything like that, not as people that were ready to kill each other, but as just like human beings. And then the next day, they realized they couldn't kill each other. They couldn't go back to war because they had just spent Christmas together.
Aw.
Yeah, and it's a real thing that happened. Look it up. And this movie Joyeux Noël is about that. It's probably the polar opposite of Krampus.
You know what? It's the same lesson at the end of the movie.
Yeah. Just in a grittier, more positive way.
This movie needs to become a cult classic. There is not a single movie in recent memory that deserves cult classic status more than this one does.
Exactly. It really harkens back to a lot of the 80s horror tropes. Like I said, Gremlins. It seriously is a good callback to Gremlins.
Because you've got a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
You've got a cast that does a lot with a little.
Yeah.
You've got some really creative iconography with the Christmas theme monsters, which are all a lot of fun. You get some really interesting. Once again, they're not kills; they're abductions, which is almost more interesting in and of itself.
Yeah, it's like when the Joker uses Joker gas because he's not allowed to kill people in the animated series.
Right. Or because that's almost more terrifying.
Right.
Because the thing is, like, even if you're flayed and hung up by a tree and hollowed out like a jack-o'-lantern, like at some point it was over for you.
Yeah. But
if with the Krampus, it's not over until he drags you to the fiery pits of hell.
And you know exactly where you're going. You're not going to you're not going to like die and be like, well, maybe if you're an atheist, you're like, well,
like,
they're dead.
Shit. Like
that
is
Christian, you can be like, well, maybe they were good for the rest of their lives and they're going to heaven. Or
it's like, nope, like that is.
Yeah.
Yep, your ass is going straight to hell.
Yeah, you're like, it doesn't matter, Christian, atheist, Hindu.
Do you think
pagan.
it's the same like hell at the very end of Disney's Black Hole? So do you think it all just leads to that same place?
I actually haven't seen that one yet, and I really want to because that was one of Touchstone's first movies.
Do you have a VHS player?
I used to. It's sad.
Because I've got it on. Because I'm super cool and have it on VHS.
Nice.
Watch it. Actually, that was the first podcast I did with El Goro. It was Black Hole and Plan 9 from Outer Space. Was our first podcast together, and now I'm here making. I have no better at making podcasts now.
El Goro is better, but he has Talk Without Rhythm. He does it. What was it, weekly?
Well, it's weekly until you hit October, and then it's daily. Because he does his 31 days of Halloween, and so it's like they're shorter episodes, they're like 10, 15 minutes an episode. Yeah. But he just hammers them out every day, and it's just like I have no idea I don't have time to listen to all of that. How does he have time to watch and record all of that?
He's a talented guy.
He is a league above us.
Yes. So
actually, he just hit episode 300.
Oh.
Him and he brought Cancer Man's back, and they did commentary for Lord of the Rings.
Nice.
Yeah.
The Foley director's cut.
Well, that's the right way to watch it. I mean, you can't watch that peasant cut for the theatrical cut for the. I don't
think they even have that anymore, do they?
I think it's at this point everyone buying the DVD is gonna want the full on I think they're over almost close to 4 or 5 hours per movie.
Yeah,
some in the neighborhood of 4 hours per movie with the big cut.
The crazy thing, the really crazy thing is that they still couldn't fit everything from the books into that. But when they did The Hobbit, they didn't have enough material. It's weird how opposites.
It's Hobbit's a discussion for another time.
Yeah. So, but getting back to Krampus.
So Krampus.
We didn't actually say what the real ending was. So he finds the bell, and then it zooms out, and they're in a snow globe. whatever that means. And then we see Krampus like
He's got like
just sets it
hundreds
down.
and
Yeah.
hundreds of these things in his lair. Well, I think this is how he watches them.
Oh yeah.
I think it's like a crystal ball type thing, and he makes that little memento from every family he terrorizes.
Yeah, it's his magical security camera, global security cameras. So, you think that he also has the elves summon up hell beasts to make the toys or something?
I like to think he makes them by, because there weren't very many of them, so I don't think he's mass production. I like to think he does it by hand.
Okay.
So, like maybe he I actually really love the mental image of, this giant evil monstrosity who's the living embodiment of the judgment of everything you've done wrong, baking gingerbread men. he's got like an old brick oven, and then you just see him like placing the little gumdrops with his creepy long fingernails.
And then they wake up and they're like, Daddy!
He's stitching together he's stitching together the angel, and then whatever the fuck he did for that Jack in the Box. And then somewhere in like the late 90s he decides he needs to update, so he like takes a bunch of scrap and he just starts to assemble the knife robot monster.
Right. Flashing lights, that's what kids are afraid of today, isn't it? Well,
I actually really dig that mental imagery.
Yeah, same. And he's so Santa lives in the North Pole. Does Krampus live in the South Pole?
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Or somewhere in Germany.
Yeah, could be that.
If I say it anyway, of course it's the Germans came up with Krampus. Oh, you know what? I've never met a German I don't like. I love the Germans.
Yeah, same. I'm half German, so there's that. I learned German for 4 years. I've forgotten a lot of it, but
did you understand the grammar?
A little bit, like ich bin or wirklich or things like that. Feuer, which is fire.
Mm-hmm.
Just Chocolat. So I understood like little bits and pieces, but I just barely remember the structure of German. But I know one thing is they can't really pronounce squirrel.
Is it like how Benedict Cumberbatch can't say penguin?
Yeah. They're like scatter, squirrel, squirrel.
Penguins. Penguins.
But in Germany's defense, we cannot pronounce what their word for squirrel is.
What is the German word? All right, lay it on me. What is the German word for squirrel?
I'm just gonna show you because
does it have umlauts? Tell me it has umlauts.
I'm pretty sure it does. It's German for squirrel. It's very, very long.
All right, give me a second.
All right, let's go. Let's see.
All right, give me a second. So I've got Eichhorn.
Chin? Eichhornchen.
Eichhorn. Oh, it's like acorn. Eichhorn. It's a this is Eichhorn.
Is that how it's pronounced?
It's Eichhorn.
Let's see.
All right, hit the button. Let's see if I line up with Google Translate.
Let's see. That's 10 Germans try to say the word squirrel. 10 Canadians try to say Eichhornchen.
Yeah, just because I think Google Translate has a button that lets you that'll play the word out loud.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's see.
Hold it up to the mic.
Can it be done in here? Damn. Let's see. Google Translate. We only get the little app thing here. Sorry, we should probably edit this.
We don't edit this shit. What do you think we actually have any production value into this? How do you spell squirrel? It's Quirrel.
SQU.
Oh, here we go. Okay, here we go. I got the sound button.
Eichhörnchen.
I was close. Einhorn.
Eichhörnchen.
Einhorn.
I
did we just become Speedy Gonzalez for a little bit there?
think so.
Jorge. Oh god, we've become racist Warner Brothers caricatures.
But oddly enough, Mexicans love Speedy Gonzalez, just like Brazilians love Blanca. Blanca is like one of the most racist stereotype.
I don't think Blanca counts as a racist the stereotype of the green Brazilian who shoots lightning out of its face
and lives in the wild. The big part was like, it's a wild man because they live in the jungle, right? But you know what? People from Brazil absolutely love it. Even the people from like Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo. I've been to Brazil, and like whenever the people I knew, I would like say, "Oh yeah, my first introduction to Brazil was Blanca." They were like, Blanca's the best. He's the greatest fighter ever. And I was like, really? You don't think he's a bit of a stereotype? And like, he's a big muscle-bound badass. What's
I think he's just so far off the deep end that he's barely human anymore. So I don't think you can call him a stereotype.
But the bad part is he when the Japanese were making him, he his original name, where his name comes from, was White Man, and they were trying to translate that, and so they called him Hombre Blanco, and then they just shortened it to Blanca. Now, Hombre Blanco is Spanish. Brazilians
they speak Portuguese.
Yes, so it would have been Homem Branco. Branco. So he was almost called Branca, I guess. There's no K's in Portuguese. No K's whatsoever.
Oh, Japan. Regurgitating culture back at us since 1983.
Yes, but you know what? When Japan makes not racist, cultural stereotypes, God bless them. They do it.
Here's the thing: is I was explaining this to some classmates earlier in the semester because we were talking about some of the racist caricatures that come out of Japan, especially with African Americans, especially with the black community. And I had to explain to people like there's not a very big black population in Japan, so all of their
Miss Japan is black.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Yeah, Miss Japan, like Miss Universe Japan or whatever.
Okay, one of those. But like, it's as far as what they get of black culture, they see it through what American media exports. So if you want to call something that Japan is doing as racist, they're only getting those ideas because all that they're seeing is the stuff that we're putting out.
There she is.
Oh wow! I think I read about that. Now that you bring up the picture.
Ariana Miyamoto. And she speaks like perfect Japanese, everything like that. Apparently, it was a little bit controversial in Japan, but like everyone else was. Yeah, most of the people were.
To me, beauty pageants are too inconsequential to be upset about.
Right. Like, she doesn't look like the rest of Japan.
So we've gotten on to Japanese Miss Universe controversies. I think we've drifted a bit away from. Krampus. But so yeah, I think that's just about all we have to say on Krampus. Just go watch the shit out of this movie.
Yeah, it's
gonna be a whole. I'm gonna go buy this because I'm gonna have to wait till next year to buy it.
Yeah,
because it's gonna get the holiday release. So I'm gonna have to wait till next year before I can buy the DVD. I want to go buy the DVD, and it's going to be annual viewing for me because I just love it that much.
Yeah, in the same way Dogma is annual viewing for you on Easter.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's every Easter. I watch Dogma while I have either a chocolate bunny or a chocolate cross in one hand and a jar of peanut butter in the other. That is Easter. Nobody ever comes over though, because everyone's got to do stuff with their families.
Oh.
No one has time. No one has time for me on Easter to come over and watch Kev Smith movies while eating copious amount of candy. I see how much everyone cares about me.
Kevin Smith is awesome as well. Oh, we didn't talk about the greatest part when we were watching the credits. It
was like the last scenes of the movie is in the kid's bedroom when he wakes up after the whole stuff. Was it all a dream bit? There's a robot chicken poster, and then there was another poster. It was Rick's wanted poster from Rick and Morty.
Yeah. So.
And then we found out that Justin Roiland and Seth Green worked on
Brain Burns
Brain Burns from Bravest Warriors, right?
Yep. Bravest Warriors, Dr. Tran, those things.
Dr. Tran.
Yeah, he's the for those who don't know, in Bravest Warriors, he's old Chris. He's like the emotion lord.
Emotional, and yeah, because then that's the same person who was who's like all the voices on Dr. Tran.
Right. You have all the mortar oil you could possibly need.
Why won't you leave me alone?
So yeah,
God, I haven't seen Dr. Tran in like, oh my god, Dr. Tran was like 2006. We're fucking old.
Oh my god, it was. Wow.
Fuck.
That's almost 10. In just a few weeks, it's gonna be.
That was like, I want to say, because I watched Dr. Tran in 2008, so at minimum that is 7 years old. Dr. Tran is 7.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna look up exactly who they were because they were like Stumpy, Jumpy, and Grumpy or something like that, and I was like,
Oh, like were they elves? Did they actually get like to put on a costume and act in the movie?
I don't know. That's the thing. They were either the elves or they were the voices.
Hold on, I got the IMDb open. Full cast and crew now. Okay, so I'm looking for
Justin Roiland, Breen Burns, and Seth Green.
All right, so let's try ROI. Roiland is not listed under the cast IMDb page. How do you spell Justin Roiland? ROI?
Roiland.
There's Justin B. Carter, and that's it. Here, let me try. There's like Frumpy and Dumpy. Let me go with Dumpy. It's not listed. So it's probably buried somewhere in the credits, but it's not on the IMDb page.
Yeah. Geez, that's a shame because I really want to know exactly who these characters were because no one refers to them by name.
Because they're just the demonic elves. It's like fucking hell.
They were either the demonic elves or, like I said, they could have been the voices for the gingerbread men.
That would have, because they just speed it up, like go all chipmunk on them.
Yeah.
That's another thing. There's a new chipmunk movie out.
Oh yeah, that like one of the best reviews I heard about it is that it makes all the other chipmunk movies look like Academy Award winning material. So go ahead, if you watched those movies and thought they were bad, watch this one.
Watch this one. It will
it will make those look better.
In retrospect, improve the quality of all the other films. All right, so there we go. We're at about 1 hour 20 right now. I think we've got all the Krampus out there. We got a Christmas cheer. We exchanged embarrassing Christmas party stories.
Yes.
I think that wraps us up for the holiday.
All right. Yeah. Have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and make sure you're nice. You better not pout. You better not cry. Otherwise, Krampus will find you.
Krampus is gonna wreck your shit.
Exactly. You don't want that.
All right. Later.
Bye.